Hey there, Ranger fans. Eggo the Visual Culturist back again. This time I'm here with another Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid expansion unboxing. So this time we're taking a look at the big box Shattered Grid expansion. So very nice. This is the first of three, I believe. Um, let's take a look. It looks like we have Lord Drakkon, the Mastodon Sentries, Black Dragon. We got Ranger Slayer, Lauren Shiba, the Red Samurai Ranger, HyperForce Pink, Yellow, Blue, Red. Um, let's see. Key art, of course. Shattered Grid. Here we go. Very nice. Next week we got Yellow and HyperForce Black. Looks like we have Red and HyperForce Blue. And then if we turn the box over, no Ranger is safe. Lord Drakkon, an evil warlord from an alternate reality, is threatening Power Rangers across time and space. The Rangers must team up to fight and protect our world from his tyranny. Only by working together can they thwart his evil plans. The Shattered Grid expansion adds new heroes and foes, the HyperForce Rangers, along with their mentor, Jen Scott's, which is Time Force. You can see her right here. Team up with Lauren Shiba against the interdimensional machinations of Lord Drakkon. His sentient warrior Zord, the Black Dragon, and the corrupted Ranger Slayer lead an army of Mastodon Troopers to conquer the Morphin Grid itself. Suit up and save the world. Go, go, Power Rangers. So, contains 32 large-scale miniatures. So let's see, we have, looks like we got 7 Ranger figures, 7 character cards, 70 combat cards, 12 foot soldier figures, 10 foot soldier deployment cards, 10 foot soldier enemy cards, 2 monster figures, 2 monster deployment cards, 16 monster enemy cards, 1 boss figure, 1 boss deployment card, 8 boss enemy cards, 3 location boards, and 8 Zord cards. So, definitely a big box expansion. Get a little bit of everything. Um, but yeah, I can't wait. Let's go ahead and dive in. Art looks great. Miniatures, I'm sure, are going to look great. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy. So, like with all things, I have to find the point of entry. Or the point of least resistance. I think it's going to be right here. So, handy dandy box cutter. Take the scalpel, make the incision. Nurse. Pad the sweat. The doctor is in. So let's go ahead and check the wrapping. Get all the good audio for the ASMR listeners, of course. Everyone who loves just a good wrapper being torn asunder. Let's go ahead and see just what we have. Oh, I should also note, right here in the sticker, requires Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid to play. So you cannot play this by itself. It is an expansion, not a full game. Has a lot of components, but you're missing the command center piece and another board, I believe. This one actually only has 3. The Kickstarter box had a full 4, so I'll see what that's about. I think only because there's one foot soldier type, the Mastodon Troopers, but I could be wrong. So we'll see. Very excited. I loved Shattered Grid. That just completely it changed all expectations I had around Power Rangers. I won't say much for the Ranger fans who have yet to experience it, but well worth investing in the 20, 30 or so issues of the Boom Studios Power Rangers comic that tells this tale. So, let's see. Let's have that framed right about there. Perfect. Okay, so Take the top off. I've noticed that's a thing. The packaging is gorgeous, but opening these things, another thing entirely. Okay, so I'm gonna set that off to the side, and right away we're greeted with. Let's see. We looked at this before in the. I want to say, the Goldar, maybe the Squat and Babu. Um, again, it's just a little catalog. You kind of get to see the all the board games available from Renegade. Oh, there's even a table of contents. Nice. Very nice. We've looked through this before. I'm kind of just gonna flip through, page here and there. A plethora of board games to keep you gaming at your table with friends, friendly local game store compadres, maybe even your friendly local comic shop. So, no shortage of games. Put this off to the side. And then here we go. Power up your game. So here we go. Power up your game. We got the Heroes of the Grid base game, the Shattered Grid expansion box, which we're looking at now. It's a big box expansion. Villain Pack 1, Cyclopsis, the Megazord, Ranger Dice. All of that is to be unboxed in the future. And then, of course, Shattered Grid, which this expansion is based on. Go read it. Boom Studios. Highly, 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 highly recommend. Gonna throw this off to the side. Okay, so let's see. We got a single sheet introduction. So it says, Lord Drakkon, an evil warlord from an alternate reality, is threatening Power Rangers across time and space. The Rangers must team up to fight and protect our world from his tyranny. Only by working together can they thwart his evil plans. So the Shattered Grid expansion adds new heroes and foes. The HyperForce Rangers, along with their mentor, Jen Scotts of Time Force, team up with Lauren Shiba against their interdimensional machinations of Lord Drakkon. His sentient warrior Zord, the Black Dragon, and the corrupted Ranger Slayer lead an army of Mastodon Troopers to conquer the Morphin Grid itself. Suit up and save the world. Go, go, Power Rangers. Let's see. So this is all the components we get. 7 Ranger figures, 12 Foot Soldier figures, 2 Monster figures, a single boss, 7 character cards, 10 Foot Soldier deployment cards, 2 Monster deployment cards, 1 Boss deployment card, 70 combat cards, 10 Foot Soldier enemy cards, 16 Monster enemy cards, 8 Boss enemy cards, 8 Zord cards, 3 location boards, and a new centerpiece. I don't know if that's going to be counted as one of the boards. We'll find out. And then integrating expansion content. So, the expansion introduces new rangers, enemies, zords, and locations. Follow the rules in the back of the base game rulebook for adding the new content to your games. And then it's the enemy die rolls. So, this expansion introduces enemy cards that roll combat dice to determine how much damage is dealt. This works just like ranger attacks that roll combat dice. The amount of damage dealt is equal to the number of hits rolled. Enemy die rolls cannot be affected by ranger abilities that allow you to reroll dice during attacks. However, damage dealt via enemy die rolls can be increased, reduced, or otherwise modified by game effects as normal. So, attaching cards. This expansion introduces combat cards that can be attached to enemy cards in order to apply persistent effects. When a ranger attaches a card to an enemy card, slide the attached card partway underneath the enemy card, making sure that its game text remains visible. There's no limit in the number of cards that can be attached to a single enemy card at the same time. At the end of each battle, each combat card that was attached to an enemy card is discarded to the corresponding ranger's discard pile. Time Force HQ. So the Time Force HQ is a new location board that can be used instead of the command center. It offers a different benefit to the Rangers. At the start of each action phase, each Ranger at the Time Force HQ may immediately transwarp. This allows them to move to another location of their choice without spending an action. Rangers cannot power up when they move to the Time Force HQ. That benefit applies only to the command center. Okay, so I guess that is one of the boards. Um, Here we go. So it looks like we got the Zord Graveyard, Time Force HQ. Oh, looks like some came out of packaging. This is clearly labeled Shattered Grid 01, so I'm gonna put this off to the side. Okay, yeah. So you only get half of the game board, which is why there's only 12 Mastodon sentries, are troopers. Which means you either have to take 2 of the Kickstarter box location boards or 2 of the boards from the base game in order to have a full play session. So, cool. Um, that's already popped out, so I'm just gonna show off. Uh, Resistance Hideout, 5 card or 5-figure limit. Each time a ranger in this location uses a Zord ability, that ranger must discard the top card of their deck. Ooh, okay. Interesting. So I'm just gonna take this off to the side. And then we got the Zord Graveyard, which is a 6 enemy figure limit, and Time Force HQ. So let me flip this over. And then there's a Command Center Assault mode, so you can still do that with the Time Force HQ. So Zord Graveyard, the B side. At the start of each action phase, choose 1 random Zord card from the box and place it at this location. Once per battle, a ranger in this location may discard 1 Zord card from this location to use its ability. Oh, cool. Interesting. That sounds, yeah. Interesting. Okay. With all the expansions I've been opening up recently, unboxing and beginning to use, I have quite a bit of Zords that go unused. So very nice that they can utilize them with the Zord Graveyard. Okay, so there's that, and here is the piece de resistance. So as we can see, we got some character cards, 2 sets of combat decks, or 2 stacks of combat decks, deployment cards, and whatnot. But we have some figures. So let me just go ahead and show off. We got the Mastodon Troopers again. I'm gonna have a different angle so I can really show off the details of all the figures. So stay tuned for that. But we got the 12, 10 in a row, and then 11, 12 on the side. Um, Looks like we have HyperForce Black, Super Samurai Red, HyperForce Blue, Lord Drakkon, HyperForce Pink, Ranger Slayer, Time Force Pink, HyperForce Yellow, HyperForce Red, and the Black Dragon. So, very nice. Very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up and take out the cards. Oh, my box kind of had the Blue Ranger just a little loose. Nothing too crazy about that. Need to find the tape. And excuse me while I open this. Here we go. So I got that off pretty good. Like I said, the only loose figure I found was the blue, HyperForce Blue. Just pop them back in there. I guess technically HyperForce Black was also a little loose. There we go. Everyone else was pretty intact, so good stuff about that. Here is the character in Zord Cards. Very nice. First stack of cards, we got Overclock, Time Force Pink, and we also have a second stack of cards. This is a Blade Blaster, so HyperForce Red. Gonna go ahead and close this up for right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in the box. I'm going to get these properly sleeved right now, and then I'll be showing them off on top of the box, just like I did for the other unboxing. So give me a second. As soon as I get this all sleeved, I'll start presenting right away. Okay, everybody. I finally have everything sleeved, and we're gonna go ahead and start with Morphin Shed, however you pronounce his name, HyperForce Red, whose character ability is Determination. Once per battle, you may either discard one card to gain one energy or spend one energy to draw one card. We also have the Lion Hyperzord. Exhaust this card when any ranger performs an attack to convert all miss results to hit results. We have two copies of Defensive Stance, which is a 0 energy cost maneuver that reads, gain 1 energy, draw 1 card, then place this card on top of your deck instead of discarding it. Two copies of Find Weakness, which is a 0 energy cost maneuver that reads, gain 1 energy. The next time any ranger performs an attack during this battle, add 2 damage to that attack. Two copies of Iapetus Blaster, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, before rolling, you may spend 1 energy to add 1 die to this attack. Two copies of Double Slash, which is a 1 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, you may discard 1 card from your hand to perform a second attack with 2 dice, targeting a different enemy card. And then we have a Blade Blaster, which is a variable energy cost special attack. This attack deals an amount of damage equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. You may divide this damage among any number of targets. And finally, his power weapon, Iapetus Claws, which is a 3 energy cost, 3 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, you may perform a second attack with 2 dice. Then you may perform a third attack with 1 die. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Black HyperForce Ranger. Here we have Vesper Vasquez, the HyperForce Black Ranger, whose character ability is Cry Havoc. If there are 4 or more enemy figures in your location, reduce the energy cost of all your cards by 1. And we have the Cerberus Hyperzord. Exhaust this card to deal 1 damage each to up to 3 enemy cards. We have 2 copies of Ground Pound, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, if the target of this attack has already resolved, add 1 die to this attack. We have 2 copies of Hades Technique, which is a 0 energy cost maneuver that reads, gain 1 energy for each enemy card already defeated in this battle. We have 2 copies of Cerberus Fang, which is a 1 energy cost 3 die attack with a reveal reaction that reads, if this card is revealed for defense, add it to your hand instead of discarding it or placing it on the bottom of your deck. Next, we have 2 copies of Koya's Shield, which is a 1 energy cost reaction that reads, play this card when any ranger suffers damage to reduce that damage by 2. Then, place this card on top of your deck instead of discarding it. Now we have Blade Blaster, and finally her power weapon, the Koya's Axe, which is a 3 energy 4 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, deal 1 damage to each enemy card that has already resolved. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the HyperForce Yellow Ranger. Here we have Jack Thomas, the HyperForce Yellow Ranger, whose character ability is Steadfast, that reads, each time you suffer damage before revealing any cards for defense, you may choose 1 card from your hand and place it on top of your deck. The Ram Hyperzord reads, exhaust this card when any ranger suffers damage to reduce that damage by 3. We have 2 copies of Headbutt, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, if the target had the guard keyword, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. We have 2 copies of Protect and Serve, which is a 0 energy cost reaction that reads, when another ranger would discard a card for defense, play this card to gain 1 energy and allow that ranger to place the card on the bottom of their deck instead of discarding it. Next, we have 2 copies of Cryas Cannon, which is a 1 energy cost 3 die attack that reads, if this attack defeats the target, deal 1 damage to an enemy card adjacent to the target. We now have 2 copies of Ram Rush, which is a 1 energy cost, 3 dice attack with a reveal reaction that reads, if this card is discarded for defense, the next time you perform an attack during this battle, add 1 die to that attack. We now have the Blade Blaster, now his power weapon, Cryas Hammer, which is a 3 energy cost, 5 dice attack that reads, the next time any ranger suffers damage during this battle, reduce that damage by 2. Next, we're going to be taking a look at HyperForce Pink. And here we are, we have Chloe Ashford, HyperForce Pink, with the impulsive character ability that reads, you may spend 1 energy to take the first turn in battle, even if there is an enemy card with the fast keyword in play. The Phoenix Hyper Zord reads, exhaust this card to allow a ranger of your choice to choose a card from their discard pile and return it to their hand. We have 2 copies of Hurricane Kick, which is a 0 energy cost, 1 die attack that reads, deal the damage from this attack to the target and to another enemy card adjacent to the target. We have 2 copies of Swift Strike, which is a 0 energy cost, 1 die plus 1 damage attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, if the target had the fast keyword, gain 1 energy. We have 2 copies of Accelerate, a 1 energy cost maneuver that reads, a ranger of your choice may immediately play 1 card. If it is an attack, add 1 die to that attack. We have 2 copies of Hyperion Bow, which is a 1 energy cost, 3 dice attack that reads, ignore the guard keyword when choosing a target for this attack. We have Blade Blaster, and finally her power weapon Hyperion Scythe, which is a 3 energy 2 dice attack that reads, double the damage dealt by this attack. Next, we're going to be taking a look at HyperForce Blue. Here we have Eddie Banks, the HyperForce Blue Ranger, whose character ability is Technician that reads, once per battle, a ranger of your choice may place up to 3 cards from their hand on the bottom of their deck, then draw an equal number of cards. We have the Serpent Hyper Zord. Exhaust this card during battle to flip up to 2 Foot Soldier cards face down. As though defeated, do not remove any Foot Soldier figures from that location. And also we have the Chronos HyperForce Megazord that reads, at the start of each battle, each participating ranger may search their deck or discard pile for a card and add it to their hand. If they do, they must shuffle their deck. We have 2 copies of Coiling Viper, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, after you play this card, place it on top of your deck instead of discarding it. We have 2 copies of Oceanus Blades, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, you and another ranger of your choice may each draw 1 card. We have 2 copies of Serpent Strike, which is a 0 energy cost maneuver that reads, gain 1 energy, attach this card to 1 enemy card, after that enemy card resolves, deal 2 damage to that enemy card. We have 2 copies of Python Grab, which is a 1 energy cost maneuver that reads, attach this card to 1 enemy card, reduce all damage dealt by that enemy card by 2, the enemy card loses the guard keyword for the rest of this battle. We also have Blade Blaster, and finally his power weapon, Oceanus Trident, which is a 3 energy 3 dice attack that reads, after you resolve this attack, choose up to 3 cards from ranger discard piles and shuffle them back into their respective decks. Next, we're going to be taking a look at Jen Scott, Time Force Pink. Here we have Jen Scott's Time Force Pink, whose character ability is Contingency. At the start of each battle, you may choose 2 enemy cards of the same type and swap their positions in the combat sequence. Time Flyer 5. Exhaust this card to allow a ranger of your choice to play a card in a battle taking place in another location, as though they were in that location. We have 2 copies of Overclock, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, discard another card from your hand, then gain 1 energy for each shield on that card. We have 2 copies of Warp Vector, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads, choose 1 card from your discard pile and place it on top of your deck. 2 copies of Chrono Saber, which is a 1 energy cost 3 dice attack that reads, if this attack defeats the target, gain 2 energy. We have 2 copies of Covering Fire, which is a 1 energy cost reaction that reads, play this card when another ranger plays a maneuver. Roll 2 dice and deal that much damage to an enemy card of your choice. We have Chrono Blaster, which is a 2 energy cost, 3 damage attack that reads, you may divide the damage from this attack among any number of targets. And finally, we have Time Force Pink's power weapon, the V5 Blaster, which is a 3 energy cost, 4 dice attack that reads, before rolling, add 1 die to the attack for each energy remaining in the shared pool. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Lauren Shiba, Super Samurai Red. Here's Lauren Shiba, Super Samurai Red, whose character ability is True Focus. At the end of each battle, add 1 energy to your personal storage if you do not have one already. In the Zord is the Bull Zord, which reads exhaust this card when any ranger plays a card to reduce that card's energy cost by 1. If it is an attack, add 1 die to that attack. We have 2 copies of Discipline, which is a 0 energy cost reaction that reads when any ranger performs an attack, play this card to allow that ranger to reroll any number of dice. Next, we have 2 copies of Hold the Line, which is a 0 energy cost maneuver that reads gain 1 energy. Each ranger in this battle may draw 1 card and then place 1 card from their hand on top of their deck. We have 2 copies of Strafe Burst, which is a 0 energy cost 2 dice attack that reads for each miss rolled during this attack, deal 1 damage to an enemy card adjacent to your target. We have 2 copies of Burnout, which is a 1 energy cost 3 dice attack that reads after rolling, you may choose 1 die from this attack and deal its damage to an enemy card adjacent to the target instead. We have Spin Sword, which is a 1 energy cost 3 dice attack that says before rolling, you may spend any amount of energy to add that many dice to this attack. Next, we have Black Box, which is a 2 energy cost maneuver that reads you may immediately play another card. If it is an attack, double the damage dealt by that attack. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the monsters, starting with Ranger Slayer. I'm sorry, I completely forgot about the Foot Soldier. So we're going to be taking a look at the Mastodon Troopers. We're starting with 2 copies of Alpha Strike, which is a 2 health fast enemy card that reads deal 4 total damage divided among the Rangers as they choose. Next, we have 3 copies of Armored Assault, which is a 3 health guard enemy card that reads roll 2 dice, deal that much damage to a single Ranger. Next, we have 3 copies of Blaster Rifle, which is a 3 health enemy card that reads deal 2 damage to each ranger. And finally, we have 2 copies of Dragon Cannon, which is a 3 health fast enemy card that reads drain 1 energy. Each ranger must discard 1 card from their hand. Now we'll be taking a look at monsters, starting with the Ranger Slayer. Here's the Ranger Slayer with her deployment card, starting with the 3 copies of Slaying Shot, which is a 4 health fast enemy card that reads roll 4 dice. Deal that much damage to the ranger with the fewest cards in their deck. Next, we have 2 copies of Suppressing Shots, which is a 4 health guard enemy card that reads deal 3 damage to each ranger, skip the next ranger turn. Next, we have 2 copies of Thunder Kick, which is a 4 health fast enemy card that reads the ranger with the most cards in their hand must discard cards from their hand until they have discarded at least 4 shields or until they have no cards remaining in their hand. And finally, we have Bow of Darkness, which is a 6 health enemy card that reads deal 6 damage to the lead ranger. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the monster Black Dragon. Here we have the Black Dragon with his deployment card, and starting with the 3 copies of Black Claw, which is a 4 health enemy card that reads deal 5 damage. Next, we have 2 copies of Dragon Crusher, which is a 4 health guard enemy card that reads deal 3 damage. The ranger who suffers this damage must discard from their hand the card with the most shield. Next, we have Chaos Wave, which is a 5 health passive enemy card that reads when this card is in play, each time a ranger plays a card, drain 1 energy after that card resolves. And finally, we have 2 copies of Nega Beam, which is a 5 health fast enemy card that reads each ranger must shuffle 1 random card from their hand back into their deck, then discard the top 2 cards of their deck. Next, we're going to be looking at the boss, Lord Drakkon. Here we have Lord Drakkon with his boss deployment card, and starting with the 3 copies of Cyclone Strike, which is a 5 health fast enemy card that reads deal 4 damage, deal 3 damage, deal 2 damage. Next, we have 2 copies of Havoc Blow, which is a 5 health fast guard enemy card that reads deal 3 damage, drain 2 energy. Next, we have Thunder Slash, which is a 5 health enemy card that reads deal 3 damage to each ranger twice. Next, we have the card Dominate, which is a 6 health guard enemy card that reads the lead ranger must discard 2 random cards from their hand, deal damage to each other ranger equal to the number of shields in the discarded cards. And finally, we have Stolen Power, which is a 7 health passive enemy card that reads while this card is in play, when energy is spent or drained, place the energy token on this card. Each time Lord Drakkon deals damage, increase that damage by 1 for each energy token on this card. Okay, welcome back everybody. We're back looking at another showcase. Okay everybody, okay, here is the sculpture figure showcase for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, Shattered Grid, Big Box Expansion. So first off, we have our 1 new foot soldier type for this expansion, and it is the Mastodon Troopers. So let's go ahead and take a look. You can see the Mastodon rifle, just the armor, very nice. You know, very commando looking. The helmet, um, you know, utility belt, some of the pads, armor pads. You know, bulletproof, morphing bulletproof armor. I guess you should say, even though the regular armor is like that. But I guess just to say more of a commando type aesthetic. So very cool. I thought it was so cool when I saw these in the comics for the first time. So really nice sculpt for a foot soldier. um, yeah, looking down the barrel of the sniper. Ranger sentries, watch out for them. But that's our one foot soldier type, the Mastodon Trooper. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our two monsters and our only boss. So first up, we have the Ranger Slayer as our first monster. Looking very, very cool with the Bow of Darkness, of course. The cape, the Rangered armor, kind of like a knight. Was a big fan of this, seeing Kimberly in this form when I started reading the Shattered Grid storyline for Boom Studios, you know, back when it happened a few years ago. But really nice sculpt. I almost wish this was the sculpt we got for the Rebel Ranger Slayer. Again, I know why we didn't, but this one is just so cool. I'm like very, very hard pressed to get this professionally painted and then use this figure in place of the Ranger Slayer or Rebel Ranger Slayer when playing as that version of Kimberly, just because it's so awesome. Again, all of the extra armor along the arms, on the legs, the Bow of Darkness, the cape in the back, you know, just waving. Very, very nice. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at the Black Dragon. So here we have our second monster, the Black Dragon, and oh boy, this guy looks amazing. He is a Zord that can enlarge or shrink down to, I guess, civilian form to go toe to toe with the Rangers. So very nice. I love all the detail in the armor, the legs, the shoulder, the claws, that tail. Really, really well done. Just knocked it out of the park. Like this thing looks fantastic. I love it. I just wish he would stop beating me up when I play the expansion. Because boy oh boy, this guy looks like he's gonna ruin your day, and I'd say 8 times out of 10 he is. So again, just so cool. Really, really, really great sculpt. So now we'll take a look at the boss figure for this expansion. And here we have the big baddie of himself of Shattered Grid, Lord Drakkon, the evil Tommy. Got all the muscle in his suit. We got the Saba Dragon Fusion Armor. Again, so freaking cool the first time I saw this. Of course, he's got the Dragon Dagger on him. Really, really, so here we have Marvin, the red HyperForce Ranger with his Iapetus claws. Very nice. You know, he's got that Weapon X, Berserker Barrage, Wolverine thing going on. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. So next we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Vesper. Here she is with her Koya's shield, I believe it's called. Cerberus shield. Uh-uh. The black really pops. Very slick. Again, her shield can transform into an axe as well when she needs it to be one. But overall, very nice. Again, a really good look at the morpher on her right arm. So very nice. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Eddie. So here's Eddie as the blue HyperForce Ranger, looking very nice. He's got his Oceanus trident in his hand. Again, really good hero poses for everyone. Really good sculpt. Now we're gonna take a look at Chloe, the pink HyperForce Ranger. Here she is. She's got her scythe again, which is also a transformable power weapon. Can also be her Hyperion bow or her Hyperion scythe. Very nice, very nice. HyperForce Rangers, not too shabby. Next, we're going to take a look at Jack. Here we got Jack, HyperForce Yellow Ranger with his Krius hammer, which can also transform into his Krius cannon. Very nice. He's got the big man on campus attitude, energy, I guess you could say. That's a really good just come at me, bro, kind of a pose. Don't think he's not gonna use the hammer. He's gonna use it. So really good hero pose, of course. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Jen Scott's Time Force Pink. So here's Jen Scott's Hyperforce. I'm sorry, Time Force Pink Ranger with her V Blaster. I think it's V1, could be V5. I'm pretty sure Wes is either V1 or V5. But good hero pose. She's getting ready to blast. There we go. Some of the her suit to just pop the detail in her V Blaster. Very nice. And then we have one last ranger to take a look at, and that's Lauren Shiba. So here's Lauren Shiba in her Super Samurai armor, or mode, I guess you could say. Samurai sword in hand. Looking very nice, very nice. I always liked the appearance of the Samurai Rangers. Good hero pose, stop. Kind of don't come any further or I will be forced to make you stop. Very nice, very nice. And this has been every sculpted figure that comes a part of Power Rangers Shattered Grid Heroes of the Grid Big Box expansion. And there you go. That was the unboxing for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid Shattered Grid Big Box expansion. Very interesting. I like a lot of the Rangers that they introduced. Some really good monsters, a really good boss. I can't wait to go against him with my friends. HyperForce looks very interesting. Some very defensive, very high energy cost team plays that I can see synergy, gaining energy, spending it. So I think that's going to be very fun to try out. Lord Drakkon looks very dangerous. Ranger Slayer and the Black Dragon are also looking pretty nasty. So we'll see how I do when I eventually play against them. But that's gonna just about do it. So, like with all my videos that I put out, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the notification bell to stay up to date in all videos that I post regarding my giant unboxing journey through the entire Heroes of the Grid board game line. And if you'd like to see me play Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, I'm currently making my way through the base game and all of the expansions. I play weekly with some stream guests, friends, sometimes by myself in solo mode. So if you'd like to see any of the content featured in these videos played out in a live play, feel free to stop by my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/EggoTheVisualCulturist. I usually play board games on my Tabletop Sunday streams. Currently, I'm playing through Heroes of the Grid in every expansion I own, so I'm going to be doing that for a while. If you'd like to come see me play, if you want to ask me any questions, if you're interested in checking out the game, feel free to stop by. I'd love to have you there. So far, we've been on a winning streak. Haven't lost in a while, so fingers crossed. I don't jinx myself. Knock on wood. Um, but yeah, otherwise, that's gonna just about do it. So until next time, guys, remember that I'm Eggo the Visual Culturist signing out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, Ranger fans.